What if you woke up one morning and everything was different? No buzzing alarm, no morning playlist, no brewed coffee waiting for you. Just silence, cold air, the crow of a rooster. Or maybe it's the opposite. You wake up and everything is smart, automated, tracked, measured, judged. This isn't science fiction. This is a split-screen story. One day, two timelines, 1850 and 2025. Let's begin at the start of the day. It's 5 in the morning, the kind of dark that swallows light whole. Your eyes flutter open, not because you chose to, but because your body knows. It's time. No alarm clock, no digital buzz, no voice assistant whispering you into consciousness. Just a rooster crowing somewhere in the yard. And a silence so deep, you can hear the ticking of your own heart. You pull the rough wool blanket up to your chin, trying to escape the morning. Cold. The mattress beneath you is stuffed with straw. It crunches when you move. This is 1850. You share the bed with 2 of your siblings. There's no room to stretch, no separate bedrooms. Just one cold space where breath hangs in the air like smoke. Your joints are stiff. You're young, maybe 13, maybe 30. But work has already shaped your body. Your back hurts from carrying sacks. Your hands are calloused from tools. Your fingers ache from the cold. The fire has gone out in the hearth. No glowing. Embers left. Just ash. You'll need to relight it later, if you have wood. You sit up slowly. Your bare feet touch the stone floor. It's freezing. There's no electricity, no heater, no warm bathroom tiles waiting. Only the gray light of dawn pushing through wooden shutters. You pour water from a jug into a tin basin. It's ice cold. You splash your face, suppressing a gasp. No soap, no facial cleanser. Just water, and maybe a strip of cloth to dry your cheeks. You clean your teeth with salt and a twig. If you're lucky, maybe charcoal. Your reflection. In the cracked mirror is foggy, tired. You put on your clothes, not fresh ones, the same ones as yesterday. Trousers patched at the knees, shirt with stiff cuffs. You sniff your sleeves. They smell of coal smoke, sweat, and soil. That's life. Breakfast. You step into the small kitchen, really just a corner of the room. Your mother is already up. She's stirring something in a black pot. Oats, maybe, thin and watery. Sometimes there's bread. Sometimes there's not. Meat? Rare. Reserved for special days. Butter? A luxury? Sugar? Maybe a spoonful, if it wasn't sold for money. You eat quickly. There's no dining table, just a bench, maybe a crate. You don't speak much. There's no time. Everyone has somewhere to be. Outside, you can already hear carts rolling, horses neighing, a neighbor chopping wood. Now, jump forward. It's 2025. Your smartwatch buzzes on your wrist. It gently vibrates at the optimal moment in your sleep cycle. Not too early, not too late. Just right. Your bedroom is still dark, but your smart lamp slowly glows. A warm, simulated sunrise. Light fills the space without hurting your eyes. You blink, stretch, yawn. Your bed knows how long you slept. Your sleep score pops up on your phone. 86%. Good. Could be better. You grab your phone from the wireless charger. Notifications flood the screen. Emails, weather, step count, meditation reminder, Slack messages. Already your day is online. You sit up in bed. Your mattress remembers how you slept. Your pillow adjusts based on your neck alignment. Your feet touch the floor. Heated hardwood. No cold shock here. You walk into your bathroom. The mirror greets you. Good morning, Julia. 6:02 a.m. 7 hours 22 minutes of sleep. The lights adjust to your mood profile. Your toothbrush is electric and connected. It tracks how long you brush. It reminds you to floss. It gives you a rating. You apply skincare, cleanser, toner, serum, moisturizer, sunscreen. 5 steps, 30 seconds each. You step on the scale. It syncs to your health app. Your weight is the same, but your hydration level is down. It tells you to drink more water. Downstairs, your coffee is waiting. The machine started automatically at 5:57 a.m. Hazelnut blend, 2 sugars, 1 dash of oat milk. Your dog's feeder has already given him breakfast. He's waiting by the door, tail wagging. You sip your coffee while scrolling. Today's schedule is full. You sigh. In 1850, the day began with survival. In 2025, it begins with optimization. In 1850, your hands were your alarm clock. Your body was your tool. You got up and worked because you had to. Hunger demanded it. In 2025, your mind is already clocked in. Before your feet hit the floor, you've reviewed metrics, messages, meetings. You've already begun. The 2 mornings are a world apart, and yet they're strangely similar. In both, the sun still rises. In both, your body still stirs. In both, you begin the ritual of becoming ready. But the purpose is different. In 1850, you prepared your body to endure. In 2025, you prepare your mind to perform. One prepares for the cold, for walking miles, for physical labor. The other prepares for back-to-back calls, content planning, metrics, and digital stress. One eats to have strength. The other fasts to stay lean. One wakes to the sounds of nature. The other wakes to a schedule dictated by screens. And now, it's time to leave. Where you go and how you get there, that's another story. Because the next chapter is about the journey, and whether your boots step into frozen mud, or your cursor hovers over an email inbox. Your day, your workday, has just begun. Still cold. Your hands sting from the morning wash. You grab your boots, worn, stiff. Maybe they leak. You step outside. Mud. Always mud. No pavement. No sidewalk. The streets are noisy with hooves and wagon wheels. It's 1850. The air smells of smoke and manure. A low fog hugs the rooftops. You button your coat. Not because it helps much, but because it's what you have. You begin your walk. 20 minutes. Maybe 40. Maybe more. Through crooked alleyways, past open gutters and barking dogs. Your steps are steady. You know every cobblestone, every muddy rut. There are no headphones, no podcasts, just the sound of the world waking up, roosters, clanging pots, and the distant hammering from a blacksmith's forge. If you live in the countryside, your commute is different. You don't walk into town, you walk to the barn, or the field. The land is your boss. Your boots sink slightly into the damp earth. The morning dew clings to your clothes. It's peaceful, in a way. No traffic. No noise. Except for the occasional cows lowing or the distant bark of a sheepdog, but it's hard. Every morning starts with effort, with movement, with breath turning to steam in the frozen air. Now, let's shift. It's 2025. Your commute begins in a room still lit by soft artificial light. You slip on socks and shuffle across the floor. No boots, no mud. You're working from home today. Thy commute is just 6 steps to your desk. You sit. Open your laptop. Adjust your ergonomic chair. Put on your noise-canceling headphones. You're there. Technically. Or maybe you're heading into the office. You grab your bag, already packed. Your water bottle's filled. Your phone buzzes with the weather. 18 degrees, light wind. You step into your car. Heated seats, GPS ready. Spotify picks the perfect playlist. Your dashboard reminds you it's trash day, or you take the train. You walk to the station, earbuds in. Everyone around you is staring into their screens. The train arrives. Clean, quiet, fast. You find a seat. Open your laptop. Start checking emails before you even arrive. Maybe you ride an e-scooter. Or take a ride share. Maybe you bike. Or maybe you live in the city and the commute is 10 minutes on foot. Whatever it is, you don't think much about it. You scroll, you sip coffee, you plan. In 1850, the commute was work, a full-body task. In 2025, it's a transition, from one screen to another. But there's something missing. Back then, the walk was time. Time to think, time to wake, time to talk to someone on the road, time to see the sun rise. Now the walk is gone, replaced by notifications, reminders, and preloaded agendas. There's no space, no silence, just efficiency. And maybe, strangely, that's what we lost. Because when your commute is physical, you feel the shift, from home to field, from hearth to factory. You cross a boundary. Your body knows it. Your feet ache, your shoulders tense. The world changes. In 2025, the line is blurred. You wake up, and you're already late. You sip coffee, while scanning emails. You sit at your desk, and never really leave it, even when the day ends, even when it's 7 p.m. and the lights are dim. Your laptop stays warm, your brain stays online. Back then, when you walked home, the road gave you closure. Every step brought you closer to rest. Every sound of the village winding down was a reminder. You survived another day. Now? The only thing that signals the end is battery life. You don't see your neighbors anymore. You wave at them through windows, through status messages. You nod at usernames. You laugh at emojis. You message someone a floor above you instead of walking upstairs. The commute used to be movement. Now it's a loading screen, and what's better? Is saving time worth losing presence? Is comfort worth disconnection? There is no easy answer. But here's what we know. In 1850, you walked into the world and felt it push back. In 2025, you log in, but either way, you're still trying to get somewhere, and whether your boots are soaked in morning dew or your phone is synced to 5 calendars, you're still, somehow, on your way to work. The sky is brighter now. You arrive. Work begins. Let's talk about tools. In 1850, your tools are simple. Sometimes brutal. Always physical. You pick up a scythe. Heavy, sharp, worn smooth by the hands of your father and his before him. It fits your grip perfectly, because it has to. You carry a hammer or a chisel or a worn wooden rake. If you're in a workshop, it's a forge, an anvil. Leather gloves with holes in the fingers. There is no manual, no digital interface. You learned by watching, then by doing, then by bleeding a little until your hands got tough. If something breaks, you fix it. Not because you're a genius, but because there's no one else. No repairman. No helpline. Just you and your know-how, and maybe some spare nails in your pocket. Your tools hang on a wall, or lean against a shed, or live in your apron pocket. They are extensions of you, and every scar on your hand tells a story about the last time you used them wrong. They don't beep, they don't crash, they don't go out of battery, they rust, they dull, they wear out, and so do you. If you're a weaver, it's a loom. Clunky, loud, beautiful. If you're a farmer, it's a plow, a hoe, a shovel. Your body. Sometimes the tool is the animal beside you, a horse that pulls the load, a dog that herds, a mule that hauls. Now shift. You sit down at your desk. You open a laptop. That's your tool. Its screen lights up. It recognizes your face. You're in. You click, type, scroll, drag, drop. You hop between spreadsheets, slides, calendars, and video calls. You work in tabs. You multitask, you troubleshoot. Sometimes you Google how to fix your tools, which are now software. Your main instrument? Not your hands. Not anymore. It's your mind, your attention, your focus, constantly fractured. You don't swing a hammer. You swing between Slack, messages, and urgent pings. You don't plant a seed. You plant ideas and hope someone clicks like. Your tools update themselves, but sometimes they break anyway. Your password doesn't work. Your Wi-Fi cuts out. Your files vanish. You restart, reinstall, reboot, repeat. Your toolkit lives in the cloud. Google Docs, notebooks, task boards, Chrome extensions. You don't carry them. You log into them. You pay subscriptions to keep them alive. But the strangest part? You never really feel them. In 1850, you could feel the wood of a handle warming in your grip. In 2025, you feel a keyboard or a touchscreen. Smooth, slick, identical every day. Your tools don't change shape, but the work behind them does. They track your productivity, your steps, your sleep, your heart rate. Sometimes it feels like the tool is watching you back. Back then, the danger was physical. You could lose a finger. Now, it's mental. You could lose your mind. You don't sweat much, but you burn out. You don't breathe hard, but you forget to breathe. In 1850, the tools you held shaped the world around you. In 2025, the tools you use shape you. They decide how you think, how fast you type, how often you check your phone. They tell you when you're late, when you're behind, when you're not enough, and somehow, they always want more. More clicks, more output, more content. Your hands are soft, but your brain is tired, because now, your main tool is your attention span, and everyone is trying to borrow it. Notifications, reminders, pop-ups, deadlines. You can mute them, but they pile up anyway, and when the software updates, so do the expectations, but not everything is worse. In 2025, you have access to learning, to ideas, to people across the planet. You can code a product, edit a film, launch a business, all from your bedroom. You don't need a factory, you need Wi-Fi. And yet, something's missing. The weight of a tool in your hand. The ache in your shoulders after a day's honest work. The pride of fixing something real. Now, you fix a bug, or send a file, or close another 47 tabs. And it doesn't feel like much. But maybe it is. Maybe it matters, still. Because whether you hold a hammer or a mouse, you're still building something, and whatever your tool is, it's still work. The sun climbs steadily in the sky, casting long shadows across the land. The day is fully awake, and so are you. The place where you work, the environment around you, begins to shape not only your tasks, but your very experience of labor itself. back. In 1850, your workplace is as raw and real as the earth beneath your feet. Imagine stepping out into a world where your office might be the field stretching endlessly under an open sky, or the cramped, smoky interior of a workshop where every breath tastes of coal and sweat. There are no modern comforts here. No climate control to soften the biting chill of winter mornings or cool the heat that drapes over the land in the summer. Instead, you wear heavy wool coats or thin linen shirts, layered to protect yourself from the elements, or to stay cool when the sun beats down. If you are a farmer, your workplace is the living earth itself. The soil, dark and damp, clings to your boots as you step through rows of crops, your hands rough and calloused from planting, weeding, and harvesting. The sun scorches your neck, the wind sometimes bites your cheeks. The soundscape is natural. Birds call overhead, insects buzz by, and the wind rustles through the leaves. Your desk is a fallen log, your meeting room a patch of shade beneath a sprawling tree. If you work in a blacksmith's forge or a carpenter's workshop, the environment is quite different, dense with smoke and the constant hammering on metal or wood. The air tastes of burning coal and hot iron. The heat from the forge presses against your skin, making sweat bead and drip despite the chill outside. The smell of oil, tar, and sawdust fills your nostrils. Your tools clang and scrape as you work, accompanied by the low murmurs of your apprentices or colleagues. Light comes from flickering oil lamps or daylight streaming through small windows, casting shadows that dance on rough stone walls. There are no walls to protect you from noise or distractions. Every shout, every laugh, every cry of a nearby animal echoes through the space. Privacy is unheard of. The work environment is public and shared. You can't close a door to shut out the world. You listen as your neighbors work beside you, sharing stories and struggles alike. This proximity creates a strong sense of community, a bond forged in the sweat and toil of shared labor. And the dangers are real. One wrong move with a blade, a slip on the wet ground, a misstep on a rickety ladder. Injury lurks everywhere. You wear scars as badges of honor and reminders of your resilience. The physical environment demands your full attention, punishing distraction with pain. Now, travel forward in time. It's 2025. Your workplace looks, feels, and sounds entirely different. For many, it is indoors, behind glass walls in a modern office tower, or inside the cozy corners of a home office. The air is controlled, warm in winter, cool in summer. Artificial light mimics daylight, adjustable to your preference, reducing eye strain. Chairs are ergonomically designed to support your back. Desks are sleek, often cluttered with gadgets. Laptops, monitors, smartphones, tablets. Your workspace may be personalized with photos of loved ones, a small plant, or quirky decorations. Yet despite these touches, it often feels sterile, clinical even. The familiar hum of air conditioning is the constant background noise, punctuated by the clicking of keyboards and the occasional ring or beep from electronic devices. Many people now work in open-plan offices, vast spaces filled with desks arranged in rows, no walls or partitions between them. The idea is collaboration, creativity, and openness. But the reality? Noise and distractions. Phone calls blare unexpectedly, colleagues chat loudly, and the steady drone of conversation blends into a low buzz that makes focusing difficult. Headphones and white noise machines become essential to carve out a bubble of concentration. For others, work is remote. Kitchens, living rooms, even cafes become makeshift offices. Video calls and virtual meetings replace face-to-face interactions. The boundaries between work and home blur and often dissolve. Your workspace is wherever you are. Your laptop, your phone, your tablet are your gateways. Yet this flexibility comes at a cost: isolation. Without the physical presence of coworkers, the subtle social cues and spontaneous conversations that build relationships are lost. Instead, you navigate chats and emails, trying to keep connection alive through screens. The warmth of a shared laugh or the solidarity of a hard day's work side by side is replaced by emojis and GIFs. The silence at times feels deafening. Unlike the communal, sensory-rich workplaces of 1850, the 2025 work environment is often invisible. It exists in virtual spaces, in clouds and servers, in the constant ping of notifications and the glow of screens. Your office can vanish at the flick of a switch or morph into another app in seconds. Physical comfort is improved, yes. You sit in chairs designed to prevent back pain. The air is clean. You can adjust the temperature with a button. The dangers to your body are fewer, but threats to your mind have grown. Stress and burnout are common. The constant availability expected of remote workers means the workday can stretch endlessly, bleeding into evenings and weekends. Notifications demand attention at all hours. The always-on culture makes it hard to disconnect. The separation between work life and personal life becomes a balancing act on a knife's edge. Yet, both eras share a profound truth. Your workplace shapes you. Not just what you do, but who you are during the day. In 1850, the environment made you tough, resilient, deeply connected to the land and the people around you. It was exhausting and risky, but tangible and real. In 2025, the workplace challenges your mental endurance, demands your digital fluency, and tests your ability to focus amid constant distractions. It offers comfort and connection, but also isolation and overwhelm. In both centuries, you adapt. You show up. You face whatever the day brings. Because work is more than tasks. It's where life and labor meet. It's where your identity takes shape. The walls may be different, stone and timber or glass and steel. The sounds may have changed, hammering and voices or keyboard clicks and digital chimes. The air may be thick with smoke or filtered and fresh. But through it all, the workplace remains the stage where you live a large part of your day, where you build skills, forge relationships, confront challenges, and create meaning. No matter if you stand in a field with the sun on your back, or sit in front of a screen, with earbuds in your ears, work defines your day, work defines you, and that, more than anything else, connects the workers of 1850 to the workers of 2025. The day pushes on. Work continues, but it's not just about what you do alone. It's about how you connect, how you share, how you get things done with others. Communication and collaboration are the invisible forces that move your work forward. In 1850, communication is face-to-face. Words spoken aloud, direct and clear. If you're on a farm, you shout across the field to a helper, or you exchange a nod and a glance with a neighbor passing by. The language is simple, practical. Instructions are given and received with no delays. In a workshop or factory, you stand shoulder to shoulder with coworkers. You call out warnings, watch the blade, or hold that steady. The rhythm of work is set by voices, whistles, and the clang of tools. Letters, handwritten and slow, carry news between towns, sometimes weeks later. A messenger on horseback or a wagon delivers the message. Urgency means nothing when the fastest horse can only gallop so far. Face-to-face is trusted, valued. You learn by watching your mentor's hands move, by hearing the tone in their voice, by reading expressions. There is immediacy in communication. It's raw, human, imperfect. Now, fast forward to 2025. Communication is instantaneous, digital, multi-channel. You send emails, instant messages, and texts. Video calls connect teams across continents. Collaboration happens on platforms like Slack, Teams, or Google Workspace. You communicate in emojis, GIFs, and memes as much as in words. You type quickly, edit faster. Messages ping in real time, demanding responses. The expectation is immediate. The working day stretches as messages arrive after hours, on weekends. Meetings are scheduled back-to-back, many online. You stare at faces in tiny boxes, trying to catch expressions through pixelated screens. The richness of face-to-face communication is compressed and altered. Nuance is lost in translation. Tone can be misunderstood. Humor is harder to convey. Yet the possibilities are vast. You can work with people across the world, sharing files and ideas instantly. You can brainstorm on a shared document while chatting with a colleague thousands of miles away. You can record a quick video update to keep your team in the loop. But this speed comes with noise. The volume of messages can be overwhelming. Important information gets buried under a flood of pings and notifications. You find yourself multitasking, replying to a message while listening to a presentation and writing notes. The quality of collaboration suffers when quantity overwhelms. In 1850, collaboration was physical, local, slow, and deeply personal. In 2025, collaboration is virtual, global, fast, and often impersonal. Both have their challenges. In 1850, misunderstandings had to be resolved in person, or they lingered longer. In 2025, misunderstandings multiply in chat threads, growing confusing and exhausting to untangle. But humans are adaptable. You learn to read between the lines of a typed message. You develop skills to lead virtual teams. You invent new ways to connect, from virtual coffee breaks to digital whiteboards. At the heart of it all is a simple truth. Work is never truly solo. It's about connection, about people coming together to create, solve, build, and support. Whether you're shouting across a field or typing across a screen, you're part of a network. And that network, that communication, defines your workday as much as any tool or task. So no matter if it's 1850 or 2025, connection is key. And the way we communicate tells the story of our times. Work, no matter the century, is defined not only by the people and places, but by the tools we use. Tools shape how work is done, how quickly, how safely, and even how we think about the work itself. Let's step into the shoes of a worker from 1850, then leap to 2025, and see how the instruments of labor tell the story of their times. In 1850, the tools you wield are simple, often handmade, heavy, and demanding respect. Your hands know their weight and texture intimately. Each hammer, saw, plow, or sewing needle carries the mark of its maker and the wear of countless tasks. If you're a blacksmith, your primary tools are your anvil, hammer, tongs, and bellows. The anvil's cold iron surface stands solid as a heart beneath your pounding hammer. Each strike shapes glowing metal into horseshoes, nails, or tools. Your bellows breathe life into the fire, fanning flames hotter than the sun itself. Your hands are blistered, muscles taut, Precision comes from muscle memory, not digital guides. Farmers rely on plows pulled by horses or oxen, scythes to cut grain, and hand tools for planting and harvesting. These tools are extensions of the body, requiring strength and skill. They are blunt and demanding, needing constant maintenance, sharpening blades, oiling joints, repairing wooden handles. Even communication is a tool in 1850, but one of a different kind. Paper and ink, quills, or early steel nib pens create handwritten letters that may take weeks to arrive. The printing press churns out newspapers and pamphlets, slow but steady conveyors of information. There is no electricity, no motors, no automation. Your tools amplify your labor but do not replace it. Your body is the engine. Now, fast forward to 2025. Your tools have transformed, morphing into sleek, digital, and often invisible devices. Your hands no longer shape metal with hammer and anvil, but glide across smooth glass screens. You carry powerful computers in your pockets. Algorithms assist you. Artificial intelligence anticipates your needs. If you work in a modern office, your primary tool is the laptop or desktop computer. It is your workspace, your communication hub, your creative engine. It connects you instantly to the world. Your fingers tap keyboards, click mice, and swipe touchpads. Software programs handle tasks that once took teams of people days or weeks. Industrial workers operate machines controlled by computerized systems. Robotics and automation have replaced repetitive, dangerous, or heavy labor. Machines build cars, package goods, monitor quality with precision humans cannot match. Farmers use GPS-guided tractors, drones that scan fields for pests, automated irrigation systems, and sensors that measure soil health in real time. The farm of 2025 is a high-tech operation, where data and biology intertwine. Communication tools abound. Email, video conferencing, instant messaging apps, cloud storage. You collaborate in virtual spaces, sharing files and ideas across continents. But these tools also come with challenges. The constant influx of digital notifications pulls your attention in multiple directions. Screens strain your eyes. Sitting for hours causes aches and pains. You trade physical exertion for mental fatigue. There is a loss, too. The tactile sensation of working with your hands, the satisfaction of shaping a physical object, the connection to the earth, these are harder to find. Yet, innovation continues. Wearables. Track your health and productivity. Voice commands allow you to control devices hands-free. Augmented reality overlays digital information onto the physical world, transforming how you see and interact with your surroundings. Despite the difference in form and function, one thread connects the tools of 1850 and 2025. They are extensions of human effort. They amplify what you can do, they shape your experience, they influence your relationship to work. In 1850, tools demanded your full physical presence and skill. Mistakes could cause injury or ruin a day's labor. In 2025, tools demand your digital literacy and adaptability. Errors can cause lost data, security breaches, or missed deadlines. Both eras require learning, practice, and respect for the instruments at hand. And both remind us that behind every tool, ancient or modern, is a human being working to make a life, to solve problems, to create something meaningful. The difference is the rhythm and nature of that work. In 1850, the day was punctuated by manual tasks, by the feel of wood grain, by the heat of a forge. In 2025, the day is punctuated by notifications, deadlines, and screen time. The tools we use shape our days, yes, but they also shape our bodies, minds, and lives. Understanding this helps us appreciate not only how far we've come, but what we might have lost and what we still hold on to as work continues to evolve. The ticking of the clock has long been the silent conductor of our lives. It directs when we rise, when we labor, and when we rest. But the way we relate to time at work, our hours, breaks, and rhythms, has shifted dramatically from 1850 to 2025. Picture yourself in 1850. The dawn breaks, but your day often began before the sun had risen. Unlike today's digital alarms, the first light or the crowing rooster was your natural call to action. Your work hours are long, grueling, and rigid. For the farmer, the day is dictated by nature's schedule. You rise early to tend to crops or livestock. The work does not pause for convenience. From sunrise to sunset, your body moves steadily through planting, watering, harvesting, or feeding animals. You labor in rhythm with the seasons, intense bursts during planting and harvest, quieter times in between. Breaks are few and functional. You pause to eat a simple meal, perhaps bread, cheese, and cold water, taken quickly and often outside. Rest is brief, not leisure. If you're in a workshop, the bell or whistle may signal the start and end of the day. 10 to 12 hours is common 6 days a week. Sundays often reserved for church and family, but even then, chores or repair work might not wait. The pace is unrelenting, with few formal protections or labor laws. The concept of work-life balance is foreign. Your identity is intertwined with the physical exertion and endurance of your labor. You feel fatigue deeply in your aching muscles, your calloused hands, your tired eyes. But there's also a rhythm, a physicality that connects your effort to the passing of time and the cycle of life. Now, leap forward to 2025. The relationship with work hours has shifted, but in complex ways. On the surface, the typical 9-to-5 office schedule persists for many, but this is increasingly flexible, blurred, and unpredictable. Remote work and gig economies have transformed when, where, and how work happens. Your workday might start at 7 a.m. or stretch late into the evening. It might be broken into bursts, interspersed with personal errands or childcare. The boundaries between work hours and personal time have faded. Technology enforces presence and productivity in new ways. You're reachable by email, messaging apps, or video calls at almost any time. Notifications buzz relentlessly, pulling you back into tasks during supposed off hours. The phrase "always on" captures this new reality. Breaks are often informal, walking to the kitchen for coffee, a quick stretch, or scrolling through social media. Lunchtime may be at your desk, eaten distractedly while answering emails. Yet there is an increasing awareness of the toll this takes on mental and physical health. Burnout is widespread. Companies promote wellness programs, encourage flexible schedules, and advocate for digital detox periods. Still, many workers struggle to switch off. The daily rhythm is less dictated by external clocks and more by personal discipline, employer expectations, and project deadlines. Where 1850 workers had the natural cycle of daylight, 2025 workers operate in a 24/7 global economy where work can happen anytime, anywhere. This creates tension. On one hand, flexibility can empower workers to balance family, health, and personal growth. On the other, the blurring of boundaries risks eroding rest and leisure. There is no single experience. Some enjoy autonomy. Others feel trapped in a cycle of constant connection. In 1850, the work rhythm was tied to nature and necessity. In 2025, it is tied to technology and expectation. But in both times, work demands discipline, endurance, and adaptation. Humans are creatures of habit. We crave routine, predictability, and meaning in our daily schedules. Whether you sweat under a hot sun or stare into a glowing screen, your workday's rhythm shapes your body, mind, and soul. You rise, labor, pause, and rest. You push through, fatigue, celebrate small victories, and dream of rest. And through it all, time remains the silent master, unchanged, yet always evolving in how it governs our work and lives. Imagine stepping into your workplace in 1850. The air smells of wood smoke, sweat, and earth. The sun filters weakly through dusty windows, or sometimes there's no window at all. The light is dim, flickering from oil lamps or candles when the sun sets early in winter. The walls are thick stone or rough timber. The floor's uneven, often dirt or rough planks. The space feels raw, rugged, alive. If you work in a factory, it's noisy. Hammers clanging, machines groaning, steam hissing. The heat is intense, mixed with the cold drafts that sneak in through cracks. You hear the shouts of foremen, the steady rhythm of tools on metal or wood. The air is thick with dust or smoke, sometimes choking. On a farm, your workplace is vast and open. The fresh air fills your lungs, but the elements can be brutal. Rain soaks through your clothes, wind bites your face, summer sun scorches. The earth under your boots shifts from mud to hard dust, depending on the season. The sounds are natural. Birdsong, animal calls, the rustling of crops. Contrast this with 2025. Your workspace is probably indoors, climate-controlled, clean. If you work in an office, the room is bright, often sterile. The hum of air conditioning and computers replaces the roar of machinery. Walls are smooth, painted, and lined with ergonomic furniture designed to reduce strain. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, or LEDs bathe the room in soft white light. If you work remotely, your environment varies widely, from a cozy nook at home with personal decorations to a bustling cafe with background chatter or a dedicated co-working space filled with plants and modern furniture. Technology saturates your environment. Multiple screens, keyboards, smartphones, smart speakers. Ambient noise is usually controlled or drowned out by headphones playing music or white noise. Air is filtered. Windows might be double-paned to block outside sounds. But what's missing? The tangible connection to the world. The raw physicality. In 1850, you felt the environment pressing against you. Dirt under your nails, sweat in your eyes, the sting of cold air. The workplace was part of your senses. In 2025, the environment often feels sanitized, mediated by technology. Your senses are engaged differently, through screens, alerts, and artificial lighting. This shift affects your experience deeply. In 1850, danger was visible and immediate. A slip could cause injury, a fire could spread quickly, machinery could crush fingers. Awareness of your surroundings was constant. The workplace demanded vigilance and respect. In 2025, danger is often hidden. Repetitive strain injuries from bad posture, eye strain, mental exhaustion. The threats are less physical, more psychological, yet both environments create their own pressures. The 1850 worker battles elements and machines with their body. The 2025 worker battles distraction and digital overload with their mind. Still, both are spaces where people spend most of their waking hours. Both shape how you feel, how you work, and how you connect to your labor. In 1850, your workplace was inseparable from your life's rhythm and environment. In 2025, the workplace is often abstract, sometimes just a room, sometimes just a virtual space. Understanding these differences helps us see not just how work has changed, but how we as humans adapt and survive in changing environments. Whether surrounded by dirt and wood or screens and cables, your work environment tells a story of the time, the culture, and the person within it. Work is more than just tasks and tools. It's a social experience. The people around us, their faces, voices, moods, shape how we feel, how we perform, and even why we do what we do. Let's travel back to 1850 and then fast forward to 2025 to see how social interactions at work have transformed. Imagine it's 1850. You arrive at the workshop, the farm, or the market square. The morning air carries familiar voices, greetings exchanged with neighbors and co-workers. You see faces you know, some tired, some jovial, each etched by hard labor and shared stories. On the farm, your family is likely your work crew. Parents, siblings, children, all hands needed to keep the farm running. You share the toil, but also laughter, songs, and meals. The workday is punctuated by moments of shared effort, lifting heavy loads together, repairing fences, or bringing in the harvest. The sense of community is strong and immediate. In a factory or workshop, you work side by side with others. The foreman's bark cuts through the noise, but there are moments of camaraderie. You swap stories over lunch, warn each other about a dangerous machine, or celebrate a job well done. Your co-workers become more than colleagues. They are your support system in a tough world. But life is hard. Social interactions can also carry tensions. Competition for jobs, disputes over wages, or conflicts with management. Hierarchies are strict, and the power imbalance is palpable. Yet these daily human connections shape your experience, offer relief, and build resilience. Now, imagine 2025. Your social interactions at work are mediated by technology as much as by proximity. If you work in an office, you see your team face to face. But meetings are often interrupted by buzzing phones and laptops. Conversations are punctuated by typing and checking emails. You might eat lunch alone at your desk, distracted by notifications. Remote work has become widespread. You collaborate through video calls, chat apps, and shared documents. You see faces on screens, but body language is limited. Small talk fades. Meetings focus on agendas and tasks. Casual hallway chats, the water cooler gossip, or spontaneous brainstorming sessions become rare. You build connections through emojis, GIFs, and reaction buttons. "Good job" becomes a quick message rather than a shared smile. You feel connected, yet isolated, part of a team yet physically alone. Work relationships are more fluid and dispersed. Teams span countries and time zones. You may never meet some co-workers in person. Networking happens on professional platforms. Friendships form online but often lack depth. The pace is faster, the expectations higher. Social support is sometimes available through employee programs, but many feel a loss of genuine connection. This change impacts mental health. Loneliness, anxiety, and burnout rise. The human need for social bonding clashes with digital interfaces. Yet, people adapt. Virtual coffee breaks, team-building games, and remote social hours try to bridge the gap. Hybrid workplaces combine office days with remote days, to balance connection and flexibility. Comparing 1850 to 2025, the essence of social work life is still there. Connection, support, conflict, collaboration. But the ways those manifest have shifted dramatically. In 1850, social bonds were physical, direct, and often lifelong. In 2025, they are virtual, fragmented, and sometimes fleeting. Both eras teach us that work is not just about what we do, but who we do it with. Humans are social creatures. We need each other to thrive at work. Understanding how these interactions have changed helps us find new ways to build community in the digital age. Because whether in a smoky workshop or a silent video call, the people around us shape the meaning of work itself. Work without tools is nearly impossible. Tools shape what we can do, how fast we do it, and even how we think about our tasks. The evolution from 1850 to 2025 shows a massive leap in technology, and with it, a profound change in how work feels and functions. Let's step into 1850 first. Your tools are simple but sturdy. If you're a farmer, your hands grasp a wooden plow, worn from years of use. The blade is sharpened by hand, the handles smooth where your palms grip them. The work is physical. The tools are extensions of your body. You know their weight, their quirks, and the effort they demand. In a blacksmith's workshop, the hammer and anvil are central. The bellows feed the fire, stoking the heat until the iron glows red. Sparks fly, and sweat drips from your brow. Each strike shapes the metal slowly but surely. The rhythm is physical, almost meditative, but demanding total focus. Factories are beginning to fill with steam-powered machines. These are noisy and dangerous. Belts and gears spin relentlessly. The machines increase production but require constant attention and maintenance. You operate levers, adjust wheels, and watch the belts to avoid accidents. These tools multiply your strength but also add risk. Communication tools are limited. You rely on spoken words, handwritten notes, and messengers to convey instructions or orders. News travels slowly. Collaboration depends on proximity and face-to-face interaction. Now, fast forward to 2025. Your tools are digital, sleek, and almost invisible. If you're in an office, your primary tools are a laptop, smartphone, and a suite of software applications. Your keyboard clicks quietly. Your mouse glides effortlessly. Cloud storage means your documents live in invisible servers, accessible anywhere, anytime. Your calendar schedules meetings automatically. AI helps with grammar, data analysis, and even creative tasks. For factory workers, robotics and automation dominate. Robots handle repetitive tasks with precision and speed, reducing human labor, but requiring new skills to monitor and maintain. Sensors and IoT devices track machine health and productivity in real time. Safety has improved dramatically, but workers now manage and troubleshoot complex systems. Communication happens instantly. Emails, instant messaging, video conferencing. Collaboration transcends borders and time zones. You can brainstorm with colleagues halfway across the world without leaving your desk. Yet, this ease also brings overload. The flood of notifications, messages, and alerts demands constant attention. Even manual trades have evolved. Electric tools replace hand-cranked devices. 3D printers create prototypes quickly. Drones survey farms and construction sites, collecting data you analyze on a tablet. The shift from physical tools to digital ones changes not just the work itself, but your relationship to it. In 1850, Tools demanded physical skill and endurance. Your body was the engine. In 2025, tools demand digital literacy and mental focus. Your mind is the engine. This creates new challenges and opportunities. The skill sets you need have shifted from muscle and manual precision to technology management and problem solving. Continuous learning becomes essential, but there's also a sense of loss. The tactile satisfaction of shaping wood or metal by hand, the sound of a hammer striking anvil, these sensory experiences fade when replaced by screens and algorithms. Yet, new pleasures emerge. Creating digital art, coding software, or operating a drone brings its own kind of mastery. Both eras share a core truth. Tools empower us to extend our abilities, but they also shape our identity and how we value work. In 1850, being a craftsman or farmer meant knowing your tools intimately. In 2025, being a professional means navigating a complex landscape of evolving technologies. Understanding this evolution helps us appreciate the skills of the past and prepare for the future. Because no matter the century, tools are the bridge between human intention and the work we create. The idea of work and rest, how they fit together, has shaped human life for centuries. But the balance between labor and leisure has evolved dramatically between 1850 and 2025, reflecting changes in society, technology, and culture. Let's explore how people found rest after a day's work, then and now. Imagine the day ending in 1850. The sun begins to dip below the horizon. Your body aches, muscles heavy from hours of physical labor, skin sunburned or wind-chapped. You step off the field or out of the workshop, and the world feels both exhausting and complete. Rest is a vital, tangible relief. You gather with family or neighbors around a hearth. The fire crackles, casting warm light on tired faces. Stories are shared. Laughter spills out. Music might rise. A fiddle, a voice, the tapping of a wooden spoon on a pot. Meals are simple but nourishing. Fresh bread, stewed vegetables, salted meat. Sometimes, the harvest or market brings treats to savor. This evening meal is more than food. It's connection and renewal. Sleep is your deepest recovery. Without electric lights, the day follows natural rhythms. Candles or oil lamps burn low, and the quiet night wraps around you. But rest is fragile. Illness, hunger, or weather might disrupt the peace. Work often begins early again tomorrow, so rest must be earned and taken seriously. Fast forward to 2025. After a long day, you might close your laptop, stretch your cramped shoulders, and glance at your phone's screen time report. Hours spent. Online, minutes scrolling social media, number of emails unanswered. Your rest is complicated. Technology blurs the boundaries between work and personal life. Notifications buzz even after hours. Sometimes you check one last email before bed, telling yourself it's just this once. But often this stretches on, stealing mental space meant for relaxation. Meals can be quick and disconnected, grabbed between meetings, eaten in front of a screen, or delivered by apps. Cooking might feel like a chore after a hectic day. Sleep is elusive. Artificial lighting, screen glow, and stress impact your ability to unwind. Many use meditation apps, white noise machines, or blue light filters to help. Exercise and hobbies offer refuge, but finding time and energy is challenging. Social gatherings are often replaced by virtual meetups or solo downtime. Work-life balance today is a buzzword, but feels elusive. Flexible hours offer freedom, but also the risk of overwork. Boundaries are porous. Mental health awareness grows, and many seek therapy, counseling, or wellness programs to cope. The sense of physical fatigue has shifted toward mental and emotional exhaustion. Both eras value rest, but the nature of fatigue and recovery differs. In 1850, exhaustion was physical, bones weary, hands blistered. Rest was a break from the body's demands. In 2025, exhaustion is often mental. Overstimulation, stress, decision fatigue. Rest requires quieting the mind, not just the body. Yet, the human need for restoration remains unchanged. Both generations understand that work cannot consume all energy. Both seek moments of peace and pleasure to recharge. The challenge today is reclaiming rest in a world designed for constant connection. The challenge in 1850 was surviving harsh conditions to enjoy any rest at all. Work-life balance may have changed shape, but it remains central to human well-being. Whether in a humble cottage or a high-rise apartment, we all need to find ways to pause, breathe, and heal. Because without rest, work loses its meaning, and life becomes just endless labor. Work can be dangerous. How safe you feel, how often injuries happen, and how health is protected have all changed dramatically from 1850 to 2025. The story of health and safety at work reveals how society values human life and how progress can both help and challenge workers. Let's step into 1850 again. In a time before labor laws or safety standards, danger was everywhere. Factories were loud and hazardous. Moving belts, exposed gears, steam-powered machines. These were accidents waiting to happen. Missing a step could mean crushed fingers, broken bones, or worse. No hard hats, no safety goggles, no gloves. Protection was minimal or non-existent. You worked in mining, the risks multiplied. Cave-ins, gas explosions, and toxic dust took many lives. Illnesses caused by breathing coal dust, called black lung, were common, but little was done to prevent them. On farms, sharp tools, heavy lifting, and unpredictable animals posed threats daily. Accidents were frequent and often severe. Help was far away, and medical care was basic. Illnesses related to poor working conditions were widespread. Long hours in damp, cold, or dusty environments weakened immune systems. Tuberculosis, respiratory diseases, infections were rampant. Children and women worked alongside men, often in the hardest jobs. Their vulnerability was high, but their voices unheard. Injuries might mean losing a hand or a leg, or worse, death. There were no safety nets, no workers' compensation or disability benefits. Families faced poverty if the breadwinner was hurt. Now, jump to 2025. Health and safety at work are regulated by laws, standards, and enforcement agencies. Factories use automation and robotics to reduce human exposure to dangerous tasks. Machines have guards, sensors, emergency stop buttons. Workers wear protective gear tailored to risks: helmets, masks, gloves, hearing protection. Offices focus on ergonomics: chairs, desks, keyboards designed to prevent strain injuries. Employers promote eye health, mental wellness, and breaks to reduce fatigue. Regulations require risk assessments, safety training, and incident reporting. Emergency protocols, first aid, and health monitoring are standard. Remote work creates new challenges: mental health risks, sedentary lifestyle, blurred boundaries between work and home. Occupational health services support workers' physical and mental well-being. Access to counseling, fitness programs, and flexible schedules help reduce stress. Yet, risks remain. Injuries still happen in construction, agriculture, healthcare, and other fields. New dangers emerge from repetitive tasks, screen time, and digital overload. Workplace bullying, harassment, and mental health crises demand attention. The evolution of health and safety reflects society's growing recognition of workers' rights and dignity. Where once injury was accepted as part of the job, today it is preventable and often illegal. This shift shows progress, not just in technology, but in values. Still, challenges remain worldwide. Many places lack enforcement, and inequalities persist. Some workers face hazardous conditions daily, echoing past struggles. Understanding the history of workplace health helps us appreciate safety's importance today. It reminds us that behind every statistic is a person, someone's hands, heart, and future. Work safety is more than rules, it's respect for life. From 1850's harsh dangers to 2025's advanced protections, the journey continues. Because every worker deserves to come home whole. Work has always been shaped by who we are, and gender has played a huge role in determining what work we do, how we do it, and how society values it. Comparing 1850 and 2025 reveals how far we've come, and how some struggles remain. Step back to 1850. In this era, gender roles were rigid and deeply embedded in social norms. Men were typically the breadwinners, working in factories, farms, mines, or trades. Their labor was seen as public and productive, tied to survival and economic power. Women's work, by contrast, was often confined to the home, cooking, cleaning, childcare. This unpaid labor was essential but invisible in the economic system. Some women worked outside the home, but these jobs were limited and often low-paid, such as domestic servants, textile workers, or seamstresses. Education for women was scarce, limiting opportunities. Women rarely held positions of authority or skilled trades. Even in farming communities, men handled the heavy physical work, while women managed domestic chores and helped with lighter field tasks. The idea of a separate spheres ideology prevailed. Men belonged in the public workforce, women in the private home. The few women who worked in factories often faced harsh conditions and discrimination. Pregnancy and childbirth interrupted their work, and they had no legal protections. Society expected women's primary role to be mother and wife. This created deep inequalities in income, respect, and power. Now, fast forward to 2025. The landscape of gender and work has transformed dramatically, but not completely. Women participate fully in the workforce across almost every industry and role. From leadership to manual labor, tech to trades. Laws prohibit gender discrimination and promote equal pay, though gaps persist. Women lead companies, run governments, and innovate in science and technology. Workplaces strive for inclusion and diversity, offering parental leave, flexible hours, and support for balancing career and family. Yet challenges remain. Women often face the double shift, working full-time jobs while still managing most household duties. Certain industries remain male-dominated, like construction, engineering, and some tech fields. Women may experience harassment, bias, and barriers to advancement. Non-binary and transgender people increasingly seek recognition and equal treatment at work, highlighting ongoing struggles for inclusion. societal expectations still influence career choices and opportunities. Gender roles at work today are more fluid, but norms and stereotypes persist. There is growing awareness that valuing all genders equally enriches workplaces and society. Comparing 1850 and 2025 shows a journey from exclusion to participation, from rigid, limited roles to greater freedom and complexity. The battle for equality continues. Work reflects society's values, and gender remains central to that reflection. By understanding this history, we honor the progress and recognize the work still needed, because true equality means everyone can bring their whole self to work, without limits or fear, and that transforms not just jobs, but lives. The types of work people do and how that work is organized have transformed dramatically from 1850 to 2025. This shift isn't just about technology or tools. It reflects deeper changes in society, economy, and how people see their place in the world. To truly grasp the contrast, we need to explore the nature of work itself, the jobs people held, how they were structured, and what it meant to have a job. Picture 1850. Most people lived in rural areas, connected closely to the land. Farming was the dominant occupation. Owning a small plot of land, or working as a tenant farmer or laborer, meant your day was defined by seasons, weather, and the cycle of planting and harvesting. Work was manual, unrelenting, and essential for survival. You woke early, sometimes before sunrise, and labored until dusk, with brief pauses for meals or rest. The work was physically exhausting and repeated year after year. Beyond farming, there were artisans and craftsmen, blacksmiths, carpenters, weavers, and shoemakers, who produced goods mostly for local consumption. Their workshops were small, often family-run businesses where skills were passed down through generations. Factories were just beginning to grow, with the Industrial Revolution transforming some sectors. Factory workers operated steam-powered machines, producing textiles, iron, and other goods on a scale unimaginable before. These jobs were regimented, with long hours, strict discipline, and often dangerous conditions. Many workers were unskilled, laborers hired by the day or week. Job security was rare. You might move frequently in search of work. Service jobs existed but were limited. Innkeepers, shopkeepers, domestic servants. Most work was local, embedded in the community. Now, leap forward to 2025. The economy is vastly more complex and globalized. The majority of jobs are no longer tied to agriculture or basic manufacturing. Instead, service industries dominate. Healthcare, education, finance, hospitality, entertainment, and technology. Millions work in offices, hospitals, schools, stores, or from home. Jobs are specialized and diverse. You might be a software developer, data analyst, marketing manager, or app designer. Others are delivery drivers, retail associates, or restaurant staff. Still others work in manufacturing, but often with high-tech machinery, robotics, and automation. Work is frequently knowledge-based, requiring problem-solving, creativity, and digital skills. The rise of the gig economy means many people hold multiple jobs or freelance projects, blending independence with uncertainty. Remote work, enabled by internet and communication tools, allows people to work from anywhere, as cafe, home, or even a different country. Job titles and roles evolve rapidly, sometimes making it hard to predict what a job will look like in a few years. There's greater emphasis on soft skills, communication, collaboration, adaptability. The structure. of work has shifted from fixed hours and locations to more flexible arrangements, though this can blur boundaries between work and personal life. Yet, despite these changes, some challenges echo from the past. Job insecurity remains for many. Economic shifts, automation, and globalization create uncertainty. Work can be repetitive or stressful, even in high-tech fields. The question of meaningful work, whether the job feels fulfilling or just a paycheck, persists. The contrast between 1850 and 2025 highlights how the nature of work mirrors societal shifts. From subsistence farming and early industry to a global digital economy, work shapes how we live, how communities form, and how individuals find identity. This evolution reflects advances in technology, changes in education, and new social values. But it also reveals ongoing struggles: fair wages, job security, work conditions, and purpose. Understanding this journey helps us see work not just as labor, but as a fundamental part of human life. Because the work we do influences who we are, how we connect with others, and how we build our future. Whether with calloused hands in a field or tapping keys on a keyboard, work remains a defining human experience, and its meaning continues to evolve. Technology has always been a driving force behind changes in the world of work. But the way technology shapes our jobs, our skills, and our daily routines today in 2025 is worlds apart from what it was back in 1850. Exploring this change reveals not just progress, but also challenges and trade-offs that workers face across time. Imagine the year 1850. Technology was basic by today's standards. The Industrial Revolution had introduced powerful steam engines, mechanized looms, and early factories. But the vast majority of work was still manual and physical. Machines were large, loud, and often dangerous. A factory worker might spend long hours operating a spinning mule or power loom, performing repetitive motions that required strength and endurance. The introduction of machines increased productivity but also brought new risks. Most technology was mechanical. There were no computers, no electricity in most places, no telecommunications. The pace of work was limited by human and machine endurance. Skills were largely physical and practical. Learning meant apprenticeships or on-the-job training in crafts or trades. Workers had to adapt to machines that replaced some manual tasks, but still relied heavily on human labor. Outside factories, in farms and small workshops, technology meant tools like plows, hand tools, and simple machines powered by animals or people. Communications were slow. Letters took days or weeks. Telegraphs, where available, sped things up but were still limited. Fast forward to 2025. Technology is digital, interconnected, and often invisible. The tools workers use daily include computers, smartphones, cloud services, and artificial intelligence. Automation and robotics handle tasks once done by humans, assembling cars, sorting packages, even diagnosing diseases. Communication is instantaneous. Video calls, instant messaging, and collaboration platforms connect global teams in real time. Information flows constantly. Workers receive emails, notifications, and data streams every minute. Skills have shifted from physical strength to digital literacy, critical thinking, and creativity. Many jobs require managing complex software, interpreting data, or designing technology itself. Work can be done remotely, across time zones, using virtual tools. Technology creates new opportunities, remote work, gig platforms, automation of tedious tasks. But it also brings challenges. Constant connectivity can lead to burnout. The boundary between work and life blurs. Job displacement due to automation threatens many traditional roles. There's a need for continuous learning and reskilling to keep up with rapid changes. Privacy and surveillance issues arise as employers track productivity through software. The pace of work has accelerated, with expectations of immediate responses and constant availability. Yet technology also enables flexibility, creativity, and innovation. Workers can access vast knowledge, collaborate globally, and create new types of jobs. Comparing 1850 to 2025, technology transforms not just what work is done, but how and where it happens. In 1850, technology extended human muscle and endurance, but left decision-making, skill, and physical presence central. In 2025, technology amplifies human intellect, connects minds across distances, and automates many tasks. This shift changes power dynamics between workers and employers, as well as between industries. But one thing remains clear. Technology is not just a tool. It shapes the very nature of work and human experience. Understanding this helps us navigate the future, balancing innovation with humanity, progress with fairness. Because technology's story is also our story, and how we adapt will define the meaning of work for generations to come. Work is only one part of life, but it often dominates how people spend their time and energy. The balance between work and personal life has changed dramatically from 1850 to 2025, affecting health, relationships, happiness, and even society itself. Understanding how work-life balance evolved helps us see what we've gained and what we might have lost. Let's travel back to 1850. For many, life was centered around survival. The division between work and life was blurred, not because work was flexible, but because it was relentless and all-encompassing. Farmers woke at dawn and worked until dusk, tending fields, animals, and household needs. Their family's livelihood depended on these long hours. It was not just a job, it was life itself. Factories imposed strict shifts, often 12 to 16 hours long, 6 days a week. Workers had little control over their schedules and few breaks. Sundays were often the only day off, reserved for church, rest, or family. Leisure time was minimal and simple: a walk, storytelling, or attending local events. There were no vacations as we know them. Illness, weather, and harvest seasons dictated rhythms more than clocks. Home and work often overlapped, especially for women, who managed household duties alongside any paid labor. Community bonds were strong, but life's hardships were constant. The balance was less about choice and more about endurance. Fast forward to 2025. Work-life balance has become a major topic of discussion, with wide variations depending on job, country, and personal circumstances. The average work week has generally shortened compared to 1850, with legal limits and paid vacations. Yet, many people feel busier and more stressed. Technology blurs boundaries. Smartphones and laptops keep people connected to work around the clock. Emails and messages arrive at all hours. Remote work offers flexibility but also risks always-on culture, where switching off is hard. Workplaces promote wellness programs, mental health days, and flexible schedules. Many encourage unplugging to prevent burnout. People seek meaning and satisfaction beyond income, valuing time for family, hobbies, travel, and rest. parental leave, childcare support, and policies supporting diverse family structures help workers balance roles. Still, inequalities persist. Low-wage workers often lack flexibility and face long or irregular hours. Women frequently carry a disproportionate share of household and caregiving responsibilities alongside work. The gig economy introduces unpredictability and lack of benefits, complicating balance. The cultural expectation to be productive, visible, and competitive in work can clash with personal needs. Many struggle with guilt or pressure over how to spend time. Yet, there is growing awareness that true balance is not just hours counted, but quality of life and fulfillment. People are redefining success, valuing rest, relationships, creativity, and mental health. Comparing 1850 and 2025 shows that while work hours may have decreased, the complexity of balancing work and life has grown. The struggle is no longer just physical exhaustion, but psychological and emotional strain. The notion of work-life balance itself is evolving into work-life integration, acknowledging that these parts of life influence and overlap in dynamic ways. From the rigid, survival-driven days of 1850 to the flexible but often overwhelming digital age, the challenge remains: how to live well while working. Finding this balance is deeply personal and societal. It shapes how we experience our days, our relationships, and our sense of purpose. The history of work-life balance reminds us that work should serve life, not the other way around, and that achieving harmony between labor and living is one of the greatest human quests. The journey from 1850 to 2025 is not just about the kinds of work people do, but also about how they prepare for those jobs. Education and skills have evolved profoundly, shaping who gets to work, what they can do, and how society values different kinds of knowledge. To understand this, we must look closely at the past and present of education and training as gateways to employment. In 1850, formal education was a privilege for many, not a universal right. Most people, especially in rural areas, received little schooling beyond basic literacy and arithmetic, if that. Many children worked alongside their parents, learning skills through apprenticeships or hands-on experience rather than in classrooms. Schools were sparse, especially outside cities. Where they existed, they often focused on religious instruction and rote learning. The idea of going to school until your late teens or early 20s was rare. Most children left as soon as they were old enough to contribute economically. For adults, acquiring new skills meant on-the-job learning. Trades like blacksmithing, carpentry, or weaving passed from master to apprentice, emphasizing manual dexterity and practical knowledge. The factory system demanded discipline and punctuality, but offered little formal training. Workers learned by repetition, observation, and strict supervision. Women's education was even more limited, often centered around accomplishments suitable for their social roles, sewing, music, and basic reading, rather than professional skills. Higher education for women was mostly inaccessible. Now, look at 2025. Education is generally compulsory and far more accessible worldwide, though disparities remain. Most people spend over a decade in formal schooling, moving through primary, secondary, and often tertiary education. Universities and colleges offer thousands of degree programs, preparing students for a wide variety of careers. Vocational schools and trade certifications provide practical skills for technical jobs. Online courses and digital platforms have opened doors for lifelong learning. Skills required for work have shifted dramatically. The digital revolution demands proficiency with computers, data analysis, coding, and communication technologies. Critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence have become essential. Employers often look for a combination of education, experience, and soft skills. Internships, apprenticeships, and professional development are part of many career paths. The pace of change means learning never stops. Reskilling and upskilling have become common as industries evolve or disappear. Despite progress, challenges persist. Not everyone has equal access to quality education. Socioeconomic status, geography, and systemic barriers affect opportunities. The rising cost of higher education creates debt burdens. Vocational training can be undervalued compared to university degrees. Rapid changes in the job market sometimes outpace educational institutions' ability to prepare students. Moreover, the skills gap is a growing concern. Employers struggle to find workers with the right technical and interpersonal skills. The emphasis on STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, reflects economic priorities, but raises questions about the role of arts and humanities. Comparing 1850 and 2025 reveals a profound transformation in how society prepares people for work, from informal, localized apprenticeships to complex, global education systems. Education has become not only a key to employment, but also a major social equalizer and driver of economic growth. Yet, the pressure to continually learn and adapt creates stress and inequality. The meaning of being skilled has broadened, from physical craftsmanship to digital fluency and beyond. This evolution challenges us to rethink how education systems can best serve diverse learners and future workforces. Because in every era, the skills we bring to work shape not only our success, but our sense of identity and belonging. Understanding this history encourages us to value all forms of knowledge and to create more inclusive pathways for learning. For work in 1850 was limited by what you could do with your hands. Work in 2025 demands what you can do with your mind and heart, and the journey between these worlds is still unfolding. The place where we work, the environment around us, deeply shapes our daily experience, productivity, and well-being. From the harsh factories and fields of 1850 to the often sleek, climate-controlled offices and digital workspaces of 2025, the differences in workplace conditions tell a vivid story about progress, struggle, and ongoing challenges. Let's begin with 1850. Factories were emerging as centers of mass production, but often at great human cost. The air inside these buildings was thick with dust, smoke, and the clatter of machines. Lighting was poor, usually from windows or oil lamps, casting long shadows across the grimy floors. Workers stood for hours on end, operating heavy, dangerous machinery. Accidents were common. Fingers crushed in gears, limbs broken, or worse. Safety regulations were minimal or non-existent. Injuries and illnesses related to the workplace were routine and often life-threatening. Heat in summer and cold in winter made conditions unbearable. There was little ventilation. The noise was deafening, causing long-term hearing damage. Factories employed men, women, and even children, sometimes as young as 5 or 6, because their small hands could fit into tight spaces in machines. Child labor was widespread and brutal. Outside factories, farms were equally tough environments. Workers faced unpredictable weather, backbreaking labor, and the ever-present threat of crop failure. Workplaces were rigidly hierarchical. Supervisors yelled orders, workers obeyed. There was little room for comfort or dignity. Sanitation was poor. Workers ate quickly and often unhealthy meals during short breaks, sometimes outside in the dirt. Contrast this with 2025. The workplace has diversified and evolved in countless ways. Modern offices prioritize ergonomics. Adjustable chairs, standing desks, natural lighting, and air conditioning create comfortable environments. Noise is controlled with soundproofing and designated quiet zones. Workplaces incorporate green spaces and wellness rooms to support mental health. Health and safety laws regulate everything from fire exits to air quality. Employers invest in training, protective equipment, and well-being programs. For many, especially knowledge workers, the workplace is digital. Meetings on Zoom, collaboration through Slack, projects managed on cloud platforms. The physical office may be large, modern, and open plan, or increasingly optional. Remote work, accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, has made home offices and co-working spaces common. Workers design their environments for productivity and comfort, though this varies widely. Even in physically demanding jobs, construction, manufacturing, healthcare, technology has improved safety and reduced manual strain. Robotics and automation take on dangerous or repetitive tasks. However, not all workplaces are ideal. Retail workers, delivery drivers, and gig economy participants often face unpredictable schedules, long hours, and stressful environments. Some factories and warehouses still operate under tough conditions, especially in less regulated countries. The mental environment is also a factor. The pressure of constant connectivity, performance metrics, and digital surveillance can create stress and anxiety. The workplace culture has shifted from authoritarian to collaborative in many sectors, but hierarchies remain. Employee voice and engagement are valued, yet power imbalances persist. Workplaces increasingly focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, though progress is uneven. Environmental sustainability is now a concern, with many companies adopting green practices to reduce their carbon footprint. In sum, comparing 1850 and 2025 reveals a dramatic transformation in workplace environments. From dangerous, physically taxing spaces to complex, often technology-enhanced settings, conditions have generally improved in safety, comfort, and flexibility. But new challenges, mental health, work-life boundaries, fairness have emerged. The meaning of workplace itself has expanded beyond a physical location to include virtual spaces and personal environments. This evolution shows how closely work is tied to human dignity, health, and happiness. Also reminds us that the quest for better workplaces is ongoing, because a workplace is more than where we earn a living. It's where we spend a large part of our lives, where we connect with others, and where our potential is either nurtured or stifled. The story from 1850 to 2025 is one of progress, but also a call to keep improving the conditions in which we work for ourselves and future generations. Workplaces are more than just locations where tasks get done. They are communities where people interact, build relationships, and navigate social structures. The social dynamics of work have transformed dramatically from 1850 to 2025, reflecting broader changes in society, culture, and technology. Exploring these shifts gives us insight into how work shapes our connections and sense of belonging. Imagine the year 1850. Work was often harsh and hierarchical. Factories and farms had clear social orders. The boss or foreman ruled with authority, often strictly enforcing discipline. Workers were expected to obey without question. There was limited space for individual expression or voice. Complaints might lead to punishment or dismissal. Co-workers often came from the same local community or extended families, creating tight-knit, though sometimes tense, social networks. People knew each other well, for better or worse. The gender divide was stark. Men dominated many workplaces, especially industrial ones. Women's labor, if present, was undervalued and often segregated into different roles like textile work or domestic service. Child labor was common, and children's social worlds often revolved around work as much as home. Work was physically demanding and exhausting, leaving little time or energy for socializing beyond basic interactions. Yet, among workers, there were bonds forged through shared hardship, informal friendships, mutual support, and sometimes collective action emerged despite employer efforts to keep control. Labor movements and early unions began to form in this period, challenging poor conditions and inequality, planting seeds for future social change. Now, fast forward to 2025. Workplaces are more socially complex and diverse. They include people from different genders, ethnicities, cultures, and backgrounds. In many sectors, there is emphasis on teamwork, collaboration, and inclusive culture. Open office layouts, team-building activities, and social events foster interaction. Digital communication reshapes social connections. Virtual meetings, instant messaging, and social media blend work and personal relationships. This can bring people closer across distances, but also creates challenges. Miscommunication, lack of personal touch, and digital fatigue are common. Workplaces encourage diversity and inclusion, recognizing that varied perspectives drive innovation and creativity. Gender roles have shifted significantly. Women participate fully across industries, though inequalities and biases remain. Policies around harassment, discrimination, and equality are enforced more rigorously, though problems persist. The rise of remote and gig work changes social dynamics dramatically. Remote workers may feel isolated, missing the spontaneous chats and camaraderie of a physical office. Gig workers often lack traditional workplace community and protections. Work friendships can provide support and joy, but also stress when boundaries blur. Social networks at work influence career advancement, mentorship, and personal well-being. Power structures remain, but are often subtler. Informal influence, office politics, and corporate culture shape experiences. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated remote work and highlighted how critical human connection is for motivation and mental health. Balancing professional relationships with personal boundaries is an ongoing challenge. Workplaces increasingly invest in mental health support, conflict resolution, and employee resource groups. The line between social and professional lives is more fluid than ever, with social media mixing the two worlds. Looking back, the social fabric of work has evolved from rigid, local, and often oppressive networks to complex, global, and digitally mediated communities. While technology connects us, it can never fully replace human presence and empathy. Humans crave connection, belonging, and respect. Whether in a 19th century mill or a 21st century virtual team. Understanding these social dynamics helps us create healthier, more supportive work environments. Because work is not just about tasks or money. It's about people, and how we relate to one another at work shapes not only our days, but our lives. The story from 1850 to 2025 reveals progress, setbacks, and ongoing struggles to make work a place of dignity, inclusion, and community. This history invites us to reflect on what kind of workplaces we want for the future. Time moves differently at work. Not just the hours on a clock, but how those hours feel, how they pass, how they stretch, how they break you, or carry you. In 1850, time was measured by light. You woke with the sun. You stopped when the sky faded. There were no wristwatches, no time-tracking apps, just the rhythm of the world, natural, relentless. If you worked on a farm, the day began early, really early, before birdsong, before warmth, before breakfast. You rose because the animals did, because the crops needed it, because survival demanded it. You worked until the job was done. Not until a clock said so. If the hay wasn't stored, or the cows not fed, the day wasn't over. In the city, factory bells rang out, loud, cold, commanding. They told you when to start and when to stop. If they rang at 5 a.m., you were expected inside by 5:01. The rhythm of work was unforgiving. 12, sometimes 14 hours, 6 days a week, no holidays. No breaks, unless the foreman allowed it. But the rhythm wasn't just time. It was your body. You bent, lifted, pulled, hammered. Again and again. Muscle memory became your calendar. Your back ached in sync with the setting sun. Your fingers, cracked with the cold of the morning. Mealtime? Brief. Maybe bread and lard. Maybe soup if you were lucky. You sat on crates, on the ground. You didn't linger. Work waited. Time off? Rare. Sunday was for church, and sometimes rest. But even then chores crept in. The rhythm never really stopped. It only slowed. Fast forward. 2025. You don't rise with the sun anymore. You rise with the alarm, a vibration on your phone. A melody you chose once, then forgot to change. The first thing you check is the time. Then emails. Then the weather. Then the time again. Panicking, maybe, because now you're late. You work from home. Or a coffee shop. Or a cube in a bright, quiet office. But wherever you are, the rhythm is digital. Your day is sliced into meetings. 9 to 9:30. 9:30 to 10:15. 10:15 to 10:45. Back to back to back. You jump from screen to screen. Camera on, microphone muted. Nods timed with other faces in tiny boxes. It's synchronized silence. If you're lucky, there's a focus block on your calendar. If not, you multitask. You type notes during calls. Answer emails while someone explains a slide deck. Your hands hover over the keyboard all day, but they never touch anything real. Lunch? It exists, technically. But most days it's whatever you can microwave in 4 minutes. Or a protein bar between Zooms. Or nothing. Breaks? You try. You scroll social media. You message a friend. You stretch your back. You look out the window. Then you sit back down. Work ends when the tasks are done. But the tasks never end. There's always another email, another follow-up, another Slack ping. You might close your laptop at 6 or 7. But your brain stays open. You dream in bullet points. Time off? Technically possible. But vacation days come with guilt. You unplug, but keep one eye on your inbox, just in case. The rhythm is artificial now, but it's still demanding. It's shaped by deadlines, deliverables, dopamine hits from notifications. You chase inbox zero like it means something. You don't feel your body the same way. Your hands don't blister. Your back doesn't break. But your mind is always spinning. And yet, just like in 1850, some things remain. There are still deadlines, still pressures, still that internal clock ticking away. There's still pride in a job done well, still frustration when it isn't, still the sweet relief of logging off or putting down the shovel. The rhythms have changed, but the beat of labor continues. Relentless, human, deep. We've traded bells for pings, plows for platforms, calloused hands for tired eyes. But the truth is, every era has its pace, its breath, its heartbeat. And maybe the real question isn't just how we work, but how we choose to live inside that rhythm. Strip away the sounds, the bells and the pings. Forget the machines, the papers, the apps. Forget the long hours and the coffee cups and the aching feet. What are we really working for? Not just the job, not just the paycheck. Let's go back, way back, 1850. You rise before the sun, step into boots hardened by dust and time, and start your day with purpose. But that purpose isn't luxury. It's not ambition in the modern sense. You work to live, to feed the children sleeping in the room next to yours, to earn enough for a sack of flour, for candles, for firewood, to survive the winter, to avoid debt, to make sure your family eats today and again tomorrow. There is dignity in that. Raw, honest dignity. Not tied to titles, not tied to promotions. Just the pride of being able to stand and say, I did what I could today. I didn't stop. I kept going. And there's love in it too. Even if no one says it out loud. When your calloused hands fix a broken fence. When you share your lunch with the apprentice beside you. When you walk home in the dark with tired legs but a steady heart. That's work. That's what it's for. And then, there's 2025. You swipe your badge, log in, answer emails before your second cup of coffee. You sit in meetings that could have been messages. You close tickets, submit forms, hit send, hit mute, hit deadlines. But why? You're not tilling a field. You're not forging steel. You're moving ideas. You're reshaping data, designing slides, tapping keys that create value for someone, somewhere. It feels abstract, but it's still real, because you're still working to live, to pay rent, buy groceries, cover the bills, maybe take a trip, maybe send your kid to school without worry, maybe afford therapy, or the dentist. You're working for the same things people have always worked for. Security, comfort, choice. But there's something else too. Now in 2025, we ask more of our work. We want it to mean something. We want to feel seen, to be appreciated, to be creative, to grow, to do something that matters, to us or to the world. That's new. In 1850, no one expected their job to make them happy. Fulfillment was a luxury most couldn't afford. But now, you might take less money for more meaning. You might quit a good job because it makes you feel small. You might stay late, not for your boss, but because you care about what you're building. And yet, there's a shadow behind all of it. Burnout, anxiety. The creeping fear that no matter how much you do, it's never enough. Because in 2025, work doesn't stop when you leave the building. It follows you home. It hums in your pocket. It stares at you from your screen in the quiet of midnight. You work harder, not with your hands, but with your mind, your time, your sense of self. And sometimes, it's hard to know where you end and your work begins. But then, just like in 1850, there are moments. A message from a colleague that makes you smile. A breakthrough after days of struggle. An idea that actually works. A compliment that feels real. Moments when you remember you're not just a cog in a system. You're someone building something, earning something, becoming something. Maybe it's a house. Maybe it's a career. Maybe it's a future for someone you love. And even if you don't feel it every day, even if some days are long and dull and quiet, the work is still shaping you, still sustaining you, still worth something. So whether you swing an axe or scroll through spreadsheets, whether you dig ditches or debug code, whether you stand in a field or sit at a desk, the question remains the same. What are you really working for? And maybe the answer is simpler than we think. To matter. To make it through. To make something better. To keep going. And somehow, across the decades, across the continents, across all the change, that answer hasn't changed at all. It's just spoken in different tongues, written with different hands, and typed in different time zones. But it's still the same heartbeat. Work, at its core, is love in motion. Care made, visible. Hope that takes form. And now we arrive at the end of this journey, not just through time, from 1850 to 2025, but through everything that work means to us. How it shapes our bodies, our thoughts, our families, our lives. We've talked about waking up to the sound of roosters or alarm clocks. We've felt the cold of the barn floor and the warmth of a loading desktop. We've watched hands grip tools of steel and wood, or hover over glowing glass. We've seen sweat, silence, shouting, and screens. But underneath all of it is the same thing: human effort, human intention, human hope. Whether you're pushing a plow or pushing code, turning soil or turning data into insight, you're not just passing time. You're leaving something behind. In 1850, it might have been a rebuilt fence, a cart full of hay, a dress sewn by hand, a beam placed in a roof that would shelter children for years. In 2025, it might be a presentation that helped win a client, a campaign that gave someone a voice, a spreadsheet that made sense of chaos, a message that made someone feel seen, even for a second. It's easy to forget, in the noise, the rush, the clutter of meetings and errands and emails, that your work matters. Even if it's quiet, even if no one claps, even if no one shares the post or sees the file or knows your name. What you build, what you solve, what you carry, it echoes. And that's the thread that connects the coal miner in 1850 to the UX designer in 2025. Pride. Responsibility. The quiet belief that effort means something, because it does. You might never meet the people who benefit from what you do. The kid who reads the textbook you formatted. The neighbor who walks into the clinic you helped design. The farmer who grows food using the tool you helped code. But they're there, and they're better for it. You may never be famous for your work, but your work can still change things. That's the miracle of labor. In any century, it transforms what is into what could be. Now, as this story winds down, I want to say this, not from 1850, not from 2025, but from right now. Thank you for showing up, for trying, for caring. even on the days when no one else seems to notice. Work is hard. Always has been. Always will be. But it's also beautiful. And as long as we remember why we do it, and who we're doing it for, we're going to be just fine. That's it for now, friends. If this journey through time gave you something to think about, something to feel, then do me a favor. Leave a comment. Share your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to explore together. Thanks for being here. Until next time, take care of your tools. Take care of your time. Take care of yourself. See you soon.